community is so lucky to have a collection like this. We have just such a unique, wide-ranging collection from cultural artifacts, scientific specimens. It really has some flavor of the whole world over.
Been around for 158 years. It has constantly reimagined itself. And we realized about 10 years ago we needed to do that again. Celebrate all the things that have been part of the collection, but also realizing there's new things to talk about, new ways to look at it, and more people we want to encourage and to engage.
Our CEO at the time, Kim Findlay, had a vision that she would have liked to have seen for the museum. And so she started looking into doing a capital campaign to reimagine the Putnam, which is what we did.
The idea of having the Putnam become a museum that features innovation through time was a convergence of several things that had happened and ideas that took place.
Well, she really was interested in innovation. She had such a firm belief that the history was driven by innovation and innovation driven by history.
So we decided it was time to really do a master plan to look towards the next era of our future. And that became part of this whole effort. We looked at what we were going to do, who we were going to serve, how we were going to serve them, and what the Putnam could look like for the next 158 years.
So because we have the ability to educate, we have the collection to utilize to do it, we had the hands-on science success, we really felt strongly that it was time for the museum to reimagine itself. At 150 years, we could all freshen up a bit, right? As we approached different organizations in the community, primarily foundations, corporations, with this possibility, with this idea, it resonated with a tremendous number of very generous families and foundations and corporations who funded the study that was done during my time.
It was amazingly satisfactory and satisfying and really happy to find out there were so many people that believe in what the Putnam does and decided that they would want to support this effort of the capital campaign that moves forward.
And that has led to coming to fruition of many aspects of the Putnam's reimagining. And I hope this will be a springboard to continue further with raising the necessary resources to utilize what's been given to us over multiple generations since the end of the Civil War.
And people started making gifts and talking to other individuals and leveraging one gift for another, and it really was very positive and very encouraging as we did that.
I think a couple things in the master plan really stood out for me based on what I could see here at the museum and then what I read, which was really making the museum more accessible.
We blasted through an exterior wall of the building to make access point in from the grand lobby. So now we can have this beautiful flow where you walk in the doors and you say, how do I start my journey today?
Opening it up, making the wayfinding something that allowed for this kind of hide and seek opportunity that you can choose your own adventure, but you really could choose your own adventure. I can start at the theater, I can start at the World Culture Gallery, I can start up at space, I can start at innovation and work my way through, where before you really had to really start at space and kind of work your way through.
Do I start with the World Culture Gallery and going to visit some of my old friends, the Mummy? Do I go into the vault, or do I go up through the Science Center? Do I want to do hands-on right away? Or is it history and innovation that I start with? With this reimagining, we give guests that ability to choose their own adventure and explore the Putnam in the way that is most meaningful for them. During the process of Putnam Reimagined, it's been such a learning experience, learning on our feet, pivoting as we encounter challenges.
We've done little bits here and there, but to have this entire project that focuses on so many wonderful projects for the museum, never seen anything like that before.
I feel feel very honored that I was able to be part of the process of reimagining the history of the Quad Cities region in Common Ground, Our Voice, Our Stories.
But when I first started, I felt that Common Ground was old at the time. It was based on a timeline, which we broke out of for the new one, and it was very focused on, I'll just say it, white culture. And there was not one mention of Mexican American culture in that gallery. And the Mexican Americans literally built the infrastructure of the Quad Cities. So to ignore that section of the community was something I wanted to see corrected. And there was, I believe, very little mention of the African American community also. So I think when we went into this, we were thinking, this has got to be about all of us.
We're really great about collecting stories over many years. But luckily, when Christina Castell came over as our history and anthropology curator, she did recognize that there was some gaps in our storytelling. And she began building relationships, particularly in the Latino community, in the African American community, in the Native American community, with individuals that expand our collection, make sure that we have representation in our exhibits, in our storytelling, in what we collect.
That was my hope. I have 4 of my grandchildren were adopted from Ethiopia, so I wanted to make sure they could come in and see them in this exhibit and all the exhibits that the Putnam has to offer.
We really focus on making sure that every student who comes into that gallery, every kid who visits our museum, will see themselves, know that they are a history maker, they're an innovator, and that they are part of history and the people who make the Quad Cities an important place.
Within the first month, there was a field trip. A girl came in and she came over and she said, "That's my grandpa's." And I thought, wow, that's really cool. You know, there was like the instant connection, really. So I think it's exciting because they're really excited about it, and that's part of their story.
Well, the vault was really a very long conversation because we knew it was going to be super expensive to build. But we had seen other museums that had done this project and had searched the internet actually to find them, and we really loved the look of it. So it was so exciting to start thinking about what we could do here to get that collection out so more people could see it, because we've got this collection that's a world-class collection. We've got pieces that when we affiliated with the Smithsonian Museum, we felt were national treasures, and we sent them the information about it, and they confirmed a number of pieces that we have here in Davenport are national treasures.
The opportunity to see the things that the museum has in its collection is something that you just don't see in a lot of other places. When we put together an exhibit for the museum, it's a very structured experience, and it's intended to be. It gives you a great structure and a learning path and a learning journey. But when you're in the vault, it's really your own path. You get to pick the ways and the places and the items that you look at and spend your time learning more about the areas that you're the most interested in, and just makes the communities more able to see what the community has given to the Putnam.
The vault is such an amazing concept. It really is a crown jewel of the Putnam Reimagined campaign.
So getting this out so that they can see the depth and the breadth of the collection is so exciting.
The work is not done yet. We are still constantly going to be moving these objects into the best location for them, the best way to care for them, but also allow visitors to see the work that we do.
One of the things that I think probably the average person doesn't realize, that you just don't take something and put it on a shelf. You have to consider light levels. So some things that have dyes that are natural dyes are very susceptible to light damage. So those would be things that maybe wouldn't go in the vault. So you have to consider condition. You also have to realize that every object that gets moved from the collection in our database, we have to change that record so that it's the location is concurrent with where it actually is located. So it's not just a matter of filling the shelves with pretty things, we have to document it. So
They might be inspired to see something that was collected by young J.D. Putnam 100 years ago and decide, you know what, I actually have a collection too. My collection's important, and maybe the Putnam would like that someday.
I think they will be overwhelmed with excitement because there's so many things to look at. It's packed full in here. It's like going into a room and not seeing just a couple of things that are exciting. The whole room is full of cool stuff to see. I think they're going to be very excited to be in this space.
We need museums as part of our cultural tapestry because it gives us a moment to reflect, to think about where we have been and where we are now. And we are constantly learning more about ourselves through museums, whether it be through innovations that we talk about in our Innovators Gallery, or even the care of our earth that we reflect on in Black Earth Big River. We are constantly thinking about our surroundings, our culture, our everyday items, and how it has meaning. And museums are a place that allow you to reflect on that and think about the meaning that we have in our everyday lives or in our past and history.
we're a throwaway society because people don't think that their stuff is important. You see all the time dumpsters out in front of houses where the grandparents have died and they're just dumping everything that the family had into dumpsters. Well, first of all, that's bad for our landfills. And second of all, everybody's got a story. Everybody has a contribution that they made to the Quad Cities. And there's no reason to throw out everything because the Putnam Museum wants to hear your story.